and also this is Agwalumo or Udara, for instance, for so many people who know the local names of this species. So it's hawked everywhere on the streets in West Africa. And as you just rightly also pointed out, Hawaii is also found in Ethiopia, which is good. Okay. Thank you so much, Michael. We have an additional question. Professor Anemugai has a question, and you want to go ahead, please?
Yeah, I think for me, I just want to appreciate the two scientists because it's showcasing the fact that we can do this work on the continent. My question to both, very briefly, you've been able to present very high quality data. It'll be interesting to hear about the start and whether it was as easy as you have projected it to be. What are the challenges, for instance? Just off the cuff, what are some of the challenges you faced? Was it the sampling? Was it the isolation of the nucleic acid, or what specific challenge did you have? Thank you.
Maybe we can also spotlight Ansia here. So it looks like this is a question for both of them. So Ansia, if you want to put on your video or something, so I can spotlight you if your video is off. So I can do it and then you can go take it back as well. So you want to put on your video, Ansia? So that I can spotlight you and yeah, okay, found you. All right. So this is more of a question. There's an important question, Professor Mugai, on what it is. So I'm sure you both heard about it. So you want to just talk about it, and I'm sure that would also help inspire others. Because one of the things AfricaBP aims to do is to sequence the genome locally. No matter the challenges, no matter anything, it has to be local. And of course, many people already have seen that. So let us know in the next 5-10 minutes. I want us to be very detailed, explanatory, and yeah, just say over to you.
Ansia, do you want to start or I can?
Sure, okay.
Yep.
So some of the challenges we face, so I am not a plant bioinformatician. I work mostly with humans and animals and pathogens, so it was very new for me to work on plants, but AfricaBP has been really great in, linking me with all the right people, because you don't know what you don't know until you realize that there's more to know. And another challenge that we specifically faced was computing resources. So because the plant that I was working with was so complex, a lot of the typical resources that we throw at assemblies wasn't enough to resolve this complex genome. So I'd had to go, just speak to other African researchers and to see how they do things and how I could improve how I was doing it. And yeah, we've made some good connections with thank God's team as well. I think the Sadiq has been very helpful, and I've learned a lot through the whole process. I'm just very grateful and happy that we can sequence African plants on African soil and analyze it ourselves. Over to you, Michael.
Yeah, I think I would say the same. The complexity of the genome. For my case, I've worked on cassava. For some reason, it was a bit straightforward having the reference of cassava. But this one also, like it's a new genome that has not been sequenced before, so there is not much reference to compare. And even like you go high on the family level, is then we get species that have been sequenced. So there was not much to like compare. So you actually started from scratch. And the complexity of the level of duplication that was really, really sort of challenging. But of course, with the network, Sadiq also like really helped in the discussion. Thank God to within the African Assembly group. So this was really helpful. And also just to mention, like I'm really completing. The last year of my PhD, so a lot going on as well. So then this was really, really, I think a lot of work and hopefully now we're getting to the end of it. So this is really nice. And actually sequencing, I really like the idea, thank God, like sequencing in Africa, doing it in Africa, collaborating within Africa, and building capacity within Africa. So that's really, 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 really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Michael and Ansia. I think this has also been very interesting because it allows us to see firsthand what the challenges are, and also allows us to see and experience firsthand how we can actually drive and move things. I mean, looking at what you guys have done in this genome, I was telling someone the other day, they said, "Oh, thank God you called me in." I said, "No, I think the genome is now on autopilot in the sense that we now need to publish it. So everything, you know, so it's actually been very fantastic. And what awaits you guys now is how do you now take those bits, and then after it's published, take those bits and also um, uh, uh, increase it in a geometric fashion in terms of knowledge, in terms of giving to people, in terms of, making it open, giving people the opportunities that, the experiences and sharing it, especially on the African continent, um, because one could sequence all this. There are institutions outside Africa that can sequence all this in a year or 2 years, but we said no, we don't want that. We want to sequence it, and I've seen people who have also built their opportunities by just doing it because you have that sense of ownership, confidence, and things like that. So I'm really pleased with this. So there are also many of those opportunities and projects within the Africa BP also in that same direction. And most of the time, I think to myself, what if we can scale this beyond just the number we have? What if we can take it times 10, times 20? Then that would then get us closer to the Africa we want, which all of us on this call, I believe, do want. And also that will also increase the number of researchers, for instance, because Africa has the lowest number of researchers globally. An example is that the average number of researchers per million people is around 1,400 researchers per million globally. But Africa has just around 300, 350 per million people. So which means the number of people that can actually drive things low. So we need to then increase it. And I think that is one of the significance of a project like the African BioGenome Project. And I really want to thank you, Ansia and Michael, for also showing that this can be done. And I hope that this will also provide a sense of motivation and inspiration for everyone on this call. This is a high quality assembly, high quality activities, and lots of things that experiences shared over the past few months. All right,
I think I want to just say that I think we shouldn't give up because from what we have seen is that the project started a bit slow. Ansi, I think you also experienced that slow start as with Michael, a lot of retries, and thank you for not giving up because eventually it worked. And that's now we're looking forward to, implementing that scale globally. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And I think you guys didn't give up because at some point you were saying, "Oh, like, okay, all right, that's it, right?" So, what especially with all of this deploy polyploid, you already is just seeing the next species and doing something with it. That is where the whole thing is. All right, thank you, and Professor Ann. This was supposed to be a comment, but then it's turned into a panel session. And all right, thank you so much, everyone. Michael and Ansia, I hope you still hang around. We have one or two more presenters, and then we can wrap up for today. Do we have we have people on site? Do we still have control on site? Professor Julian, do we still have control on site?